So, wow, we have a treat for you guys today. So, we are here in the Kaibab National Forest. We're at Jacob Lake Inn, and Melinda Rich here is one of the generations that's been part of this lodge. Harold and Nina Bowman actually founded this lodge in 1923. We'd love to hear a little bit about them and the history. And then we have a few questions for you, because I read some interesting things about the lodge, and I think people need to hear that.
Yeah.
Lance, what's up?
Well, I think the cool thing is like we're here, we're checking it out, we're seeing it for ourselves, we're learning what we're learning.
Yep.
But then you get to meet Melinda and her family, and she's going to tell us stuff we don't know.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave here with a wealth of knowledge.
The behind the scenes.
Yes.
So, Melinda, give us a little history on the lodge here.
Okay. So my great-grandparents were the ones who started Jacob Lake Inn in 1923. So it was Harold and Nina Bowman. And what's interesting is that our ancestors even before us were in this area. So Harold's father helped to do a lot of work in Kanab to help the tourist industry be able to come into this area. And so when we hit kind of the time frame 1919 when they made the Grand Canyon National Park, then people were really starting to come out this area, but there wasn't anywhere for them really to be. You had it out at the canyon itself, but to drive out here on those roads with those cars, I mean, it was a challenge, and people get stuck and all those things. And so they spent that summer of 1923, and it was really Nina's brother and a few others that were here with a truck, and they had a 50-gallon barrel of gasoline that they would siphon out to people. And then they were selling homemade root beer and sandwiches and things, and that was that first summer. And it was profitable enough for them to decide to turn that into just a business to see if it would work. And so they built their first cabin over by the lake, Jacob Lake, which is named after Jacob Hamlin, who was a person who worked with a lot of different people in the area to make it kind of passable for people to travel in the early 1800s. So that first lodge was a one-room cabin, and one of the fun things, here's a little inside information about Jacob Lake. The oldest part of the lodge here are actually the two green doors that go into the kitchen, and they were from the original lodge that was just a one-room cabin. What's interesting, again, another fun history story. So when they were deciding to change the roads in the early, I guess late 20s, with all the kind of public works projects and things, they were changing the way that the road and the direction. And the original Junction was actually supposed to be about a quarter mile from us at the bottom of a really big hill. And with those cars at that time, there's no way for them to stop and then go up that hill. Right. And so my great-grandfather was friends with all of the men who were working on the road itself. And what they did is they left all of those machines full of gasoline with the keys and all the stuff, and that he spent a weekend and built the road. So the road that from us goes out to 89A towards Page, towards Bitter Springs Junction, Marble Canyon, that direction, that first stretch of road was all built by my great-grandfather and became the official road when they paved it.
I can't imagine that, because we've spent a lot of time on the South Rim, and you had Route 66 and I-40 and tourists, and there's busloads of people stopping there, and it's just so much action, easier access. You got the West and the East Rim,
Yep.
but the North Rim is hard to get to, and we haven't been actually on the North Rim, but it's like, I can see why it's out there, but it's really great.
Yeah.
So thinking of what your family did to make this a place for people to come is amazing.
Well, and the thing that I find so fun about it is that we are here at this junction, and we've spent so much time here. I mean, it'll be 100 years, 2 years from now. And
Wow.
So the thing that's incredible to me about that is that not only do we have our own family history that's here, but we have people who have, I mean, their family history is a part of this as well. That people will come hunting, or that they spend multiple family trips that they come here. We have Native American artists that we've been working with generations of their families, because we have in our gift shop, we have their pottery or their rugs or their those things. And so again, part of what is amazing is having been in this spot for so long, we really have become this junction of culture too. And so we have this ability to be able to kind of people collect into this space, and that's a really fun part of it too.
Well, your grandparents and great-grandparents need to be commended. They're innovators.
Yes.
So I think even Harold's father was working on the tram down at Bright Angel Lodge.
Yep.
So I mean, if they hadn't done any of this, would it be here?
To me, I feel like it was that time period where I think maybe someone would have filled it in, but I don't think it would have been what it is. And so, I mean,
Well, of course.
I mean, I mean, I never knew them personally, but what I love about our family is that we love the stories of all of those generations and recognizing just how they helped us to become who we are. And that's part of what makes it really incredible to follow in their footsteps and to be a part of that.
Well, it's very easy for families to pass on to the next generation, and that generation fails.
Yeah.
But we had breakfast this morning, and we had a fifth-generation guy serving us.
My
your
nephew, yeah.
So to see you getting people, the young generation up and working, and I'm sure you did the same as a young child.
Yes, I did.
To put that, work ethic and instill that with them, it's commendable for your family.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they were all very, very pleasant and very kind and very helpful, and so the eating experience was great.
Good. Well, thank you. That's what we want. So.
It's interesting sitting here. There's a lot of action going on. There's people checking in. There's people buying stuff, taking their breakfast out to go. I mean, it's hustle bustle.
Yep. No, and that's again part of what is fun about being in the Junction is that you have to pass us. And so, thanks, great grandparents, for putting it in this location. But part of again what makes that fun is that we get to really work with people from all over the country. I mean, especially right now with COVID and those things, but really most of the time it's all over the world. I mean, I have met people from so many countries, and that's again part of what is great about being in the same location and having people come and work with us and stay with us. It's so
Well, the North
fun.
Rim closes like mid-October, right? So, but you guys are open year-round. Speak a little bit about kind of the activities that happen in the other seasons.
Yeah, so because obviously the canyon is the draw, but being here in this beautiful forest, I mean, the Kaibab forest is really very large, and so there are trails and roads. The Arizona Trail goes through here, and so in early spring and in the fall, there are large groups of hikers that come through, and so we kind of become a stop for them. So that's a fun thing. We also have bikers and things that will come through, and we'll have tours that will come, and that's also really fun during those kind of earlier times where they're driving through to other places, but they'll come and stop with us, and there's that.
It's interesting to hear you talk about sharing this with the world.
Yeah.
Because we share our platform with the world, and we have an audience, and we love to share what the open roads have to offer.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that I love about this area is that there's just such a variety of landscape. I mean, I love when people come up here and they're like, this is an incredibly beautiful forest. And then you go down 20 miles from us and it is desert.
Right.
But you also have these really beautiful cliffs. Like if you go again towards the south, that's the Vermilion Cliffs. And you have, I mean, they're massive. And especially as you get towards Marble Canyon and the Navajo Bridge that's there, you're really up close to those. And so you can see how tall and massive they are. And then you go the other direction and you're headed towards Kanab. And again, you have more interesting landscape and things. And so it's a really beautiful place to be and to experience. But also the vastness is what I think is so different for a lot of people.